Buzz Williams has been a failure in year one.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tre Moore, host of Locked On Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you guys for making us part of your day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. And if you're new customers, bet just $5 and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Buzz Williams has been a failure in year one for Maryland football. It's time we have a conversation about Buzz Williams. I know we all kind of thought going in, I always kind of thought of it as a B hire. A lot of people thought it was solid, but a lot of people also thought there was kind of better out there. And it has been a failure in the first year for Buzz Williams. I know I said I would give him a pass for year one. I know I said it's really hard, and it is, to turn around a team that loses everyone and be good in year one. I think most people can understand that that's a really difficult situation to be able to do, to be handed 0 players on your roster and have to get guys in the portal, have to get guys in the recruiting class. Like, there was nobody for Maryland basketball, and Buzz Williams had to do it in 1 year, which isn't realistic for Maryland basketball. It's something that is really hard to be able to do. I don't know how many other teams in the country had to do that. I'm sure most of them aren't very good. And so I do kind of I'm like, okay, we kind of give him a pass in this year, but that doesn't mean that we can't grade this year. That doesn't mean that we can't still look at the body of work and judge Buzz Williams as a coach this year. And let me say this. It's been a failure year one for Buzz Williams. No matter what kind of passes we're giving him or get out of jail free card in year one that we're giving him, it's been a failure in year one for Buzz Williams. It hasn't been good enough. It's been one of the worst years Maryland basketball has had in a while. I don't remember the last time we've been this bad. A couple years ago, that the team that we had with Kevin Willard, that was pretty bad. Like, we were not this bad. That team was still competitive. That team could still get some things done. But when you look at this Maryland basketball team, we're terrible. We're one of the worst teams in the country, like, in terms of being in a decent conference. Like, we're one of the worst teams I've seen. And after getting blown out 91-48 to Michigan State, who's a good team, don't get me wrong, really good team, arguably the best team in the Big Ten, you could probably argue, arguably a top 10 team in the country according to the ranking, according to where everyone has them, according to the resume, might be a team that could win in March, but that's not a team, I believe, and this is when I think Buzz Williams comes into play. You should lose to 91-48. That's embarrassing. Like, that's really bad. Like, that's out of this world type of score. Like, that's you could just completely getting blown out. It's like losing to Illinois 70-89. It's like, all right, like, I get that we're not as good as Illinois. Like, I get that. But losing to someone 48-91, that has to start up top. That has to start with the coaching, because I just like comparing it to Vegas. I'm not saying Vegas is perfect, but they're about as close as we can get to perfect. The line for this game was 18.5. So Maryland basketball was supposed to lose by about 18, 19, okay, maybe 20, maybe 22, maybe 24, 25. You're not supposed to lose by nearly 40 points. That's not what's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to lose by 38 points or whatever the number is when you end up doing the math. You're not supposed to lose by that many points. And it's embarrassing for Maryland basketball, because that's how we've been all year. We're not just taking losses. Like, it's one thing to be like, okay, this team's not that talented. This team doesn't have a lot of guys that can get it done, but we should still be able to figure it out. We should still be able to get things going. Like, it's one thing to have that. It's another thing to just getting smashed every game. And Buzz Williams is failing in year one. It's clear. It's obvious. the team is weird. Like a lot of the lineups and stuff, like a lot of it I think is on him. I don't think it's necessarily all about we're just not that talented. Like, yeah, you can make that excuse for a while, but soon you got to be like, you look at it and you're like there's just a lot of stuff that you just we look unprepared, to be honest, every game. But it's definitely something that just can't happen. Like some of the stats, if you just look at it, Michigan State ended the match with 31-0 on fast break points. That's terrible to me. And like Buzz Williams, that's something you got to be able to fix. Like as a coach, I know a lot of that comes on the players, but that's something you got to be able to fix. And Maryland's offensive philosophy, whatever we're trying, whatever our identity is, I don't really know, isn't working at all. Not at all. It's terrible. It's not efficient. And to me, that starts with the top with Buzz Williams. That starts with him coaching. That starts with him coming up with game plans. That starts with him coming up with sets. That starts with him at the top. That doesn't start with anyone else. That's not about anybody else. That's about Buzz at the top, not getting the job done in terms of what we put down on the offensive side of the ball. It's not. And so, and you only put up 48 points. Like usually when this team scores 90, even when you get blown out, you're still able to score like 70, you know? And so it's just not good. Like right now we shoot a lot of threes. We shot 26 3-point attempts against Michigan State. Like that's a lot of 3-point shots. We're only shooting 23% from the field. We're also continuing to turn it over at a decent margin. I feel like every game I look at it, we turn it over more than the other team. The lineups still don't make any sense to me. Like George Turkson starts, will take the jump and then only play 5 minutes in the game, like, and come out right away. Can somebody explain that? Like, are we trying to get Solomon Washington a 6th Man of the Year award? Like somebody got to explain. Like that's coaching to me. Like, why are we like trying our hardest not to start Solomon Washington, to say that he came off the bench this year? Like, can somebody explain that to me? And yeah, Solomon Washington is a good player. It's like, why not just start the kid? We know he's probably arguably our best player right now. Solomon Washington played 37 minutes compared to George Turkson Jr. playing 5 minutes. And it's like, for some reason, we got to take him out on the first whistle. Somebody explain that to me. I don't get it right now. It's definitely a failure to watch right now for Maryland basketball as well. And then you have to find a way to adjust the rebounding. We've gotten out-rebounded, I feel like, every game this year. Even teams that aren't even that big are out-rebounding us. And against a Michigan State team who Tom Izzo has been good, really good in the past at rebounding, not letting his opponents out-rebound them. And we continue to take out these small lineups. And I understand there's not a ton of people's size on our team, but at a certain point, it's like, what are we doing? Like, we got to be able to rebound better. It's something we have to emphasize more clearly into every single game. It's not different. It's just not. I watched Michigan State out-rebound us by 10. Like, to me, that starts at the top with coaching and where we are right now, 1-8 in the Big Ten, 8-12 overall. And with some of the lineups we're turning out and things like that, some of the minutes played, like, I'm like, Miles Rice still isn't playing a ton, which to me is like, I get he hasn't shown it, but like, why not try Miles Rice more minutes? Try out something different. Like, why not try a different lineup? Isaiah Watts played a little bit better in terms of his efficiency, but he ended up playing only 10 minutes. Like, it's like weird. It's like the one game Isaiah Watts is actually shooting decently. Made a 3, made a 2. It's like he gets taken out the game. In other games I've seen him go 0 for 8. He plays 40 minutes. Like, make it make sense, So it's a mess right now. It's definitely a mess. Like, it's just a mess. It's a failure year one. Still, we'll give him the pass when it's all said and done for this year, but it's got to be better, I think. Or it's obviously got to be better, but there's got to be major changes that happen next year. Buzz has to figure some stuff out, because To me, whatever we got going isn't working. It's not good enough. So some things have to change for Maryland basketball because it's just not it right now. So we'll see what ends up happening, but I just don't like where we're at right now as a group. Let's talk about Maryland's tight end room. I think it's going to be much better next year and be maybe one of the better groups in the Big Ten. We'll talk about that next. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel's making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing your favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turns into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's a perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. And if you're a new customer, you can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count because after the last Super Bowl, the season is over. And last call for football on FanDuel. There's so many other different things you can bet on as well, whether you're an NBA fan, whether you're an NHL fan, a college basketball fan. There's so many different things on FanDuel. So you guys have to head over to FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So I'm really excited about this tight end room for Maryland football heading in to this year, coming into the next year for Maryland football. I think it's much better than what we had last year. I think the simple add of Preston Howard giving a different body type in that room with the combination of Dorian Fleming coming back, I think really opens up the offense. And I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to be tight end led next year. I think that's kind of what our plan is going to be. I think we're going to throw the ball a lot to the tight end. I think they're going to really open up this offense. And I think it's going to be the strong suit of our team. I think we might run a lot of kind of bigger personnel, if you will. I think that's entirely possible for Maryland football. I think we'll see a lot more of that. And next year, because we have two really good tight ends, we're unsure about the receiving room still. I think we still need to bring in somebody that you feel like a little bit more better about, that can be a little bit more high level of a player. But I think where this tight end room stands, you have two dudes that are both going to be really good players for you. Preston Howard, 6'6" body, probably about 240 pounds now. And then you have Dorian Fleming, who's a little bit smaller, probably about 6'2", 6'3", but also a pretty big dude as well. And I think it's not like, I don't want to be like, oh, Preston Howard's more the blocker and then Dorian Fleming's more of the receiver. Like, that's kind of a lazy take with it, because I don't even necessarily think that's true. I think these are two guys that can both do some of both. And I think that's what kind of excites me right now about this tight end room. I think Preston Howard, I think coming over from Auburn and really like this, leaving Maryland and coming back to Maryland, really the definition of the grass isn't always greener on the other side. But so we're going to see Preston Howard. Obviously, he went to Maryland and he was pretty good in his couple of years from Maryland, was kind of always like the second tight end to Corey Dyches, which is kind of similar to what is going on here, or Dylan Wade. If you guys remember him in 2024, he kind of ran with Dylan Wade a lot. Preston Howard did. He had 24 receptions, nearly 200 yards in 2024 for Maryland football. In 2023, he had 13 receptions, 160 yards. At Auburn, he had 10 receptions, 84 yards. So he's not necessarily like a huge target in terms of, he hasn't gotten like 40 receptions in a year like Dorian Fleming. But man, Preston Howard has the tools to 100% make that jump, where we're looking at him as a guy who possibly next year, I think could catch maybe 20, 30 balls for us, be closer to 200, 300 yards in that tight end room. I think that's entirely possible. We've seen him. He has that big 6'8", 6'6" frame where you're looking at him and you're like, he makes some catches and you're like, dang, that kid's really talented. And we didn't have a second tight end last year, like Leon Houghton Jr. Like, I didn't feel great about him. So I think having Preston Howard in that room makes it so much better. And then Dorian Fleming, Sneaky had it was an up and down year last year for Dorian Fleming. There was games where he'd be our leading receiver, and then there'd be games where he didn't get a catch. I think this year will be more of a steady flow. I think he could end the year our leading receiver. Malik Washington, a lot of the times, showed that he liked throwing to Dorian Fleming. And so if that ends up being the case, I think that could work for Maryland football if he definitely wanted to throw the ball a lot or throw the ball a lot to Dorian Fleming. I think that's definitely something that could end up being true for Maryland football and definitely end up working for Maryland football. I think he's going to be one of the best targets next year from Malik Washington, if not the best. But he did still have 40 catches last year for 351 yards. I expect that to be closer to 500 yards next year, maybe even 600 yards. I think Preston Howard could add another 200, 300 yards, and you might looking at our tight end room, and they could combine for 1,000 yards receiving. I don't know if either one of them is going to get above like 700. Like, I feel like that doesn't really happen in college football, but I think combined that could be a 1,000-yard receiving room. I think that's entirely possible for Maryland football, and definitely something that is going to definitely be really big for Maryland football. And I kind of talked about this before, but I think it's going to be a lot more 12 personnel, which I think is important for us, because I think in the past, we've kind of gone away from that a little bit last year because we just didn't have the bodies. Like, Leon Houghton was decent, but like to me, he's not the talent that Preston Howard is. And obviously Houghton's off in the portal, but he's not the talent. And I think moving to 12 personnel a lot more could make a lot more sense for this team. It could work a lot better for this team because I just think where kind of our talent aligns in terms of maybe not a ton in the receiving room, maybe we can get it figured out a little bit more. We're still kind of unsure, obviously, but I think running the football also could be a lot easier in a lot of 12 personnel. I think Preston Howard also has a lot of ability as a blocker, like that Leon Houghton didn't have, that even Dorian Fleming doesn't have. If he reaches that potential, if he's able to kind of get that done, I think that could be a thing for Maryland football. Is you have a guy in Preston Howard that could be an excellent red zone threat, like an excellent. I know he hasn't caught a ton of touchdowns yet, but his body, some of the spectacular catches we've seen him make, like, he could be a really good red zone threat. And then you could have Dorian Fleming running around, mismatch nightmare, racks up a ton of catches on the year. They complement each other so well. I'm excited about it. Let me know what you guys think about it. But let's talk about Maryland basketball's loss a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit more about the individual players, like what's going on, who needs to be better, just about everyone, if you guys didn't know. But we're gonna dive a little bit more into it, what I kind of think about it next. This is the Mazda moving the game forward. And for those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen, these remind me of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's the extra work off the court, dialing in every detail and giving it that extra fire, that grit, and that never quit. And I feel like there's a player from Maryland basketball that's really showing that right now, and that is Solomon Washington. He has that grit. He has that never quit, always going forward. And Mazda puts the same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda, and I think it's very similar to Solomon Washington because there's more to Mazda because there's more to you. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Maryland's loss to Michigan State, where Michigan State scored 91 points while Maryland basketball stuck at 48. Just a joke of a performance from us, but a couple guys that I did think played decently well I thought Elijah Sanders did some good things. He's shooting the ball better than he was at a certain point. 13 points for him, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. I thought he did good. He's doing a good job of being a stretch five, I guess, honestly, with the lineups that we're playing at 6'7", 6'8". He's kind of playing the stretch five. That's like part of our problem. A lot of 5-out stuff, which is fine, but we can't rebound. But I did think Elijah Sanders played pretty well. But the problem is he only has 2 rebounds, and he's kind of our 5 guy right now. So that's something that is just like, that's like one of those things where I'm like, dang, like it just doesn't look good for Maryland basketball. But 13 points, 5-11 from the field. He's one of the only guys that I thought played well. And then I want to move to Diggy Coy. Didn't play well, really inefficient, ended up getting in double digits. I did say this, which I don't want to take back, but it's kind of coming true. I was like, I'm okay with Diggy taking a bunch of shots. I'm okay with him taking some contested shots, whatever the case is, because there's a couple of games where he keeps going for like 40 or he'll go for 35, and you're like, okay, Maryland basketball actually has an opportunity to win that game. And without him taking some of those contested hard shots, we just don't have any chance at all. So part of me is like, I don't mind when he takes some of those shots, and when he goes 1 of 7 against Michigan State from the three-point arc and only scores 11 points, because I don't mind, because I'm like, in another game, he'll go 5 of 9 and we'll actually be in the game because of him. So I still kind of feel that way, but it's definitely becoming really a thing. He's streaky, like one of the more streaky players I've seen from Maryland basketball. I haven't really seen a guy like this, but definitely would like to see him be a little bit more, shoot the ball a little bit better. I thought Darius Adams didn't really do too much. I mean, for me, Darius Adams is kind of one of the bigger parts of this team. I think we 100% want him back next year, obviously. Like, I think he's a guy that could be make a huge jump from year 1 to year 2, but he just needs more time to develop. He needs more time to kind of figure out his everything. He has all the right attributes to be a really good scorer in the Big Ten and things like that, but he just needs more time, to be honest. And so I kind of hope that he's able to get that, but I definitely think that he's a guy that could end up being really solid for Maryland basketball in the future. Like, he's going to be a big part of the offseason. I'm really going to want him back. I think he's going to be a huge guy that we really want back. Even though he didn't play that well against Michigan State, he's played decently during the year. Selma Washington, I thought you could argue, was our best all-around player. He had 8, 6, and 4. He's impacting the game in a bunch of different ways. He's rebounding. He's doing different things well. I know it's not necessarily coming out on the stat sheet or on the field or whatever you want to call it in terms of the scoring, or really helping us like get closer in terms of the score. But I've never seen a guy put in an amount of effort and heart that he's putting in. And I really like watching him play, like, to be honest. I think he's one of the few guys that kind of shows effort. And then Andre Mills, another guy that could return next year. I don't know how to feel about Andre Mills. I think he's a really good athlete, has a really good frame and things like that. But he played 15 minutes, somehow got up 4 threes, somehow got up 8 shots, and only made 1 of them. Like, really inefficient, got to the free throw line 4 times. I have trouble with him because I'm like, I think he could be really good defensively, but his offensive talent, it always might be lacking. Like, it always might not be the best. It's just like what it is. And so he's a guy that I think is a decent player, but I just can't see being that good for Maryland basketball offensively in the future. I think he can be a good, like, all-around player, but I never can see him being a great offensive talent because I just don't think he's a natural shooter of the ball or natural offensive player. He has all the talent. He just isn't the most natural, like, playmaker, which is okay. But he'll be another interesting guy to talk about in the offseason in terms of, does he end up returning? Does he end up coming back? I do think he could be a good player off the bench, but I don't know. I think there's a lot he just needs to improve on offensively. But he does play hard. He also usually rebounds at a pretty high clip. He didn't do that today, but that was definitely something. Miles Rice didn't do too much. I really want him to play more. I just think we lack offense, and I'm like, he's probably one of our better offensive guards. He doesn't really get much of a chance. 17 minutes. I mean, 17 minutes is definitely more than what he's been playing, but I don't know. I think he deserves a little bit more. George Turkson, someone's going to have to tell me what's up with him because I don't know. And then, like, Isaiah Watts, same thing, 10 minutes, finally shot the ball decently, but didn't play very much. It's weird. It's like Buzz Williams doesn't want to, like, all right, this is what I would do quickly with the starting lineup. This is personally what I would do quickly before we have to get out of here. I would try something different. I would go Diggy at the 1. I would go Miles Rice at the 2. Darius Adams at the 3. Solomon Washington at the 4. And then Elijah Sanders at the 5. It's small lineup, but I think that would give us a better chance offensively to compete. But that's just me. That's all we have for today. Thank you guys for listening to Locked on Terps. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're here every day talking Maryland football and basketball. So thank you guys for listening to Locked on Terps.